Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that massive pump on the Bitcoin chart. Guys, as I was telling you, we did have a bullish formation going on, and I did show that in a couple different ways in the groups. In one way, I was showing that we did have this inverted head and shoulders, which would have a measured move approximately to the $40,000 area, just a hair under. And then, of course, if we did have an invalidation of that formation, then we could come back and check our bear zone, or at least the neutral point of control. And, we just didn't get that. This formation ended up continuing to be bullish. In the groups, I was also showing this accumulation wedge, and this was a very nice accumulation wedge, okay? And just like other formations, yes, there can be fake outs to perhaps some other type of trend, and then you would have to measure it again based upon support. But in this case, we just kept accumulating, and I guess it turns out that Michael Saylor's group or some of these ETF groups, they were accumulating so much Bitcoin, and that's probably what this really janky pattern was about over here. And I was calling that it was a bullish Wyckoff, and in fact, it did prove to be true. So, guys, what are we facing today? Well, we did get that pop that I was looking for on the charts, and currently we are spiking above the bullish control zone, which now rests somewhere around $38,430. If we close the day above $38,430, we are going to continue to be bullish in that bull zone. Now, we can have pullbacks, we can retest this accumulation wedge here, and if we were just to do a retest, kind of just prove it as support, then we really wouldn't want to break our volatility pivot under 37,963. Above there, we do have our bias to the upside, but we will hold support as long as we're above 37,732. Now, if we do lose that level, there is a chance that there was a fake out, and we could retest our lows somewhere around the neutral point in that $36,000 area. And then, of course, if we lose that, we're going to just change the character of this setup here, and we may come back down to test the bear zone somewhere around that $33,000 to $35,000 area. As we push up, maybe that will continue to rise. But currently, we are above the general continuation, which is what the MACD traders use to trade. So we've got all the MACD traders on our side now. Finally, right? Finally, we have the MACD traders on our side, and so we can all act together to push this chart up until it's so over leveraged that it just comes collapsing back down like a house of cards. And that could happen, in my opinion, anywhere between $40,000 to $42,000. I want to give you some type of justification for that. If we go back, in time on this chart, then you can see that that $40,000 to $42,000 area was a nice place where we did get multiple rejections in the past. We got rejected here, right? We got rejected here, right? We used it as support here, but we had to flip it first, right? And then, of course, you can see that while we did push, up and down around it in this kind of chop zone, overall this was bearish. And where we left it last, of course, we just kind of plummeted after getting into that $40,000 to $42,000 area. And of course, if we were to talk about support, you can see that we came all the way back down to approximately 30K. In some of these cases, 35K. So, if we do push up to that 40 to 42K region, and then we have a pullback to 30 to 35K, don't be so surprised, okay? Don't have that Pikachu face on your expression, because the chart is telling us that's possible. Now, if we are able to punch through 42,000, then of course we could be looking up at those higher regions in the upper 40s and perhaps even lower 50s. But Alpha Fam, I will keep you abreast of that. Now, you may notice that I do have these signals on my chart for the first time, and actually I am trying out a new indicator. And Chart Prime did reach out to me and ask me to just try this for them. I'm giving them a little bit of a feedback and also they're allowing me to offer it using a referral. So they do have a free trial and also a holiday code that is available. The link to that will be in the description of the video below. You can use holiday 50 for 50% off the monthly chart prime, and then if you want to use holiday 30, you can get 30% off the quarterly billing there. Now, what this just has as on a superficial level, and I haven't finished trying it out completely, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. We do have this kind of optimal tuning dashboard down here, which can just give you some type of insights. And we do see that currently on these different time frames that you can set up yourself. I have the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15 minute just to try to see if there's anything front runnable here. We can see that it's bullish, bullish, bullish. And I like to see when we might have some turnaround. And so I think that this is a really cool function of this program. Guys, I'm not going to try to shield this or anything. I'm going to give you honest reviews, and I'm going to be investigating this indicator in the coming weeks just to make sure that it fits my standard. But, if we do look, in the past where that was giving some signals, it doesn't hit everything, but where it hits, it's pretty reliable if you stick to your ranges and you understand where your support and resistance is. We got a nice sell signal over here, just letting you know. We got a nice buy signal here when we got some support. You see this ribbon that's part of the package there. It was showing where it was bearish. And so this was approximately where I was giving the go ahead for the buys. Okay, this is where maybe we were a little bit earlier here using some other standards, but this is a good confirmation. And then you can see over here, we do have some possibilities where, it suggests that there could be a pullback. There was indeed a pullback there. And then, of course, this sell signal over here, that was a pretty sizable drop after that. And we did get the bounce here. So it's not perfect. There are going to be rules that go along with it, but it can kind of give you insights as to what's going on. And when it does hit in a good way, it does tend to have a nice follow through. You see, we don't have a sell signal yet. And it even has a little check mark here. You can't see it probably on the video, but it does have a little check mark here that suggests maybe you should take a little bit of profit there. And indeed, this was the main thrust of the move, and then we went into consolidation. So that would have been a pretty good place to take some profit. So I'm going to figure out how to fine tune this thing, and so far I am enjoying it. It does behave a little bit particular in some cases where you may get a little bit of a later signal than if you're trying to front run the move. For example, right here, right, we have a strong sell, but it's on the drop candle, and this is a buy on this candle that just popped off. But on the other hand, at least you do have the signal firing off when the move is occurring, and so you can get a little bit of insight. And for example, this one would have been just a great candle to buy right here at 17,300. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep looking at it. You guys can try it out in the free trial if you'd like, and there's a lot more that goes into this. So if you see it on my charts, please forgive me. I am going to deep dive into it later on, and I really appreciate the Chart Prime community for allowing me to just test it out and share it with you guys. And yeah, I mean, let's just zoom out a little bit because I think that's enough for the shill of the day. I am trying to find ways to support this channel and support the alpha community without having to charge fees in the community. We are just hitting, altcoin setups, out of the park. And so if you guys haven't joined the Discord, please take a look for the link in the description of the video below as well. But I just want to go out, maybe on the weekly here. And let's go ahead and just take a look at some of this macro that we have going on. Because something that I think we haven't touched on in probably several months since the bottom of the market was this falling wedge that I was describing to you, AlphaFam. And what it is really this macro pattern that a lot of people didn't want to believe was possible. But I do know how these things can work out. I've done a full investigation of the macro and the different patterns that get printed on the macro, and they do tend to work out with a surprising consistency. And I did have that investigation in a couple episodes, so I do think it's time just to touch on it again, and maybe I'll do a deep dive a little bit later, but in a future episode. But what I wanted to point out just for today is that we do have this falling wedge, and we do have a measured move for it, right? Now, if we just pull that measured move over to the breakout, that would suggest that we would have a pretty hard limit, at least on the measured move, somewhere around that $48,000 level. And that does correspond with this wick high right here on that fake out move. And it also, if I pull this back just a little bit further, it also lines up with the very hard resistance that we just weren't able to break through on both of our macro tops on this double top on Bitcoin. So does that suggest that this chart is so bullish that we could actually push to 48K? Well, I did suggest that when we were breaking out down here and when I was looking for this wedge in this area, that we could potentially have a measured move to that 50K zone. But I would be just on high alert for pullbacks in this 40 to 42K area, where in the past we did have that proof of rejections. Okay, so straight up doesn't usually happen. This is a lot of bullish candles in a row, and while we could be going parabolic like in this bull run, that's a lot to hope for. And at some point, we're going to get a little bit of a return to the mean, right? And you can see the Bollinger Band midline here representing that mean. We're going to get a return to the mean, and so that could suggest anywhere from 30,000, and if we keep pushing, maybe that 35,000, and that definitely aligns with what we saw in the past. So AlphaFam, I just want to put these targets in front of you so that you can think about it. Okay, I'm not predicting this. I'm not saying it's going to happen. There are no certainties in trading, but we have been discussing this target ever since we had that breakout. This is why the Alpha Fam could take that risk at 16K and 17K. And I want to show you just how technically perfect, right? You see this pull right here, right? For this kind of flag shape. We had the pull and then we had the pull back. We really built up a nice support right here as a base for this wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, five classic waves inside of the falling wedge, a pullback approximately to the 50%. And what would you expect next? The measured move, right? Of course, you can get a retest. We got a little bit of a retest. This was an 18K area right here. We dropped to 20K. We got the retest of the breakout. And what would you expect to continue to the measured move? Now, if you want to be just conservative, sometimes these peaks are a little bit of a blow off top, just like we had this little bit of a deviation over here, and you don't necessarily want to take that. So you could take it from, a little bit more in the center of the wedge. And if you want to have just more of a conservative play there, you can see that this area would actually align with where we are right now. So just on a macro patterns perspective, okay, this area is a very good zone to be thinking about taking some profit, putting some food on your table, Alpha Fam, and not being too loyal to these coins, because I absolutely guarantee you these coins will not be loyal to you. There will be a very harsh and punishing pullback that takes away all of your profit at some point. And if you didn't put a little bit, in your pocket, a lot of people walk away from these markets with nothing. So yeah, this is the macro zone I would be looking at. This is a band of kind of suspicion that I'm looking at. And then, of course, we could be looking at that 48 to a 52. We got a little bit of a wick over here. We got a little bit of wicks over here. And so if we end up blowing off in this area, and then how harsh could be the pullback? I don't know. We've really tested 25 quite solidly. Could we come back a little bit lower, maybe to that 20 area, somewhere between 20 and 25? Yeah, all of that's on the table. If we're just super bullish, could we hit that 30 to 35? Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to look at it at that time, Alpha Fam. But yeah, that's your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.